Fredericton-South and Leader of his Party.
Well, Mr. Speaker, winter's coming on. Many tenants have received notices of rent increases for 2023 that would render their apartments unaffordable, forcing them out of their homes. Outreach workers in Fredericton have for the first time seen people sleeping rough, homeless, thanks to rent evictions. Let's not drive more people into the streets because of unaffordable rents. Rent caps keep people housed. Point final. Time and time again, they have proven to keep housing affordable. Mr. Speaker, there are only 7 sitting days remaining in which the Minister of Housing can introduce a bill to renew the rent cap for 2023 in time to have it become law before Christmas. Will the Minister of Housing table a bill on this House within those next 7 days to renew the rent cap?
Minister of Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for the question. Tenants have received rent increases. We know this because they've come to the Residential Tenancies Tribunal, which is a separate body that can mediate between tenants and landlords. The Residential Tenancies Tribunal takes a look at the unit, what condition of the unit it is in, the location of the unit, and makes a determination whether the rent increase is fair and appropriate for that particular unit. We need all tenants to come to the Residential Tenancies Tribunal if they do receive rent increases they do not believe is fair and equitable. Only then will we have the information about what these rent increases are that you are discussing so that we can make decisions about appropriate measures to assist tenants and landlords in the province of New Brunswick. So yet again, I say, please have the people that are talking to you go to the Residential Tenancies Tribunal.
Member for Fredericton-South and Leader of his Party.
Monsieur le Président, hier, pendant son point de presse, le Premier ministre a dit aux journalistes qu'il avait rencontré en compagnie du ministre responsable du logement d'importants propriétaires d'immeubles locatifs. Le registre des lobbyistes tenu par le commissaire à l'intégrité n'indique aucun propriétaire d'immeubles locatifs ou leur agent comme lobbyiste. Ma question pour la ministre du Logement est simplement la suivante. La ministre peut-elle nommer les entreprises représentées lors de la réunion avec elle et le Premier ministre?
Minister of Service New Brunswick and Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Since being made the Minister responsible for housing, I have met with many, many stakeholders. These stakeholders do include landlords. There's a landlord association. I've met with them. I've met with tenants groups. I've met with Acorn. I've met with municipalities. I've met with various stakeholders, all related to housing in New Brunswick. And I'm not done yet, Mr. Speaker. I have a lot of meetings left to have. So specifically naming each individual company I have met with, I'd be happy to provide you that later, but it was a representation of the Landlords Association. They're all members. There's many, many members of the Landlords Association. So I continue to meet, and I will do that going forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Fredericton-South and Leader of his Party.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take the Minister's comments to suggest that she will supply the names of those companies to the House. Mr. Speaker, housing is widely recognized as a human right, but really that right is meaningless if you can't afford to pay the rent. The Premier and his Cabinet have a choice. Deregulate rent increases, as will happen automatically unless a bill is tabled in the House within the next 7 sitting days, or table that bill to keep people housed. Fundamental question, will the Minister of Housing respect the fundamental human right to be housed, or will she let the market decide who has a home and who is going to end up on the streets? Will she bring in that rent cap?
Minister of Service New Brunswick and Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the Minister responsible for housing, it's my responsibility to weigh the needs of the tenants as well as the landlords. I am doing that. And I'm also working with the Residential Tenancies Tribunal, who is an arm's-length group that can evaluate whether rent increases proposed by landlords are appropriate for the unit, for the location, and then can work with tenants or the landlords to either approve or disapprove or change what the rent increase is. There's a reason this group is at arm's length, so it cannot be interfered with by government or outside parties. They are a mediation group, and they are extremely important in this whole process. This government has introduced numerous policies and legislation to protect both tenants and landlords. We will continue to do that, Mr. Speaker.